How's it going, everybody, on this glorious, glorious Wednesday? I know I got some news for you. I don't know what it actually means to break it down, to be truthfully honest with you, because I don't know. Let's see here. So I'm just going to get into it. The first one comes from Georgia. Willis pausing Trump's Georgia trial due to his reelection bid is a silly notion. I thought I was pausing it. The district attorney prosecuting Donald Trump in Georgia is alleging election interference, insists that the charges should not be paused because his presidential campaign. 14 of the 19 convicted in the case have pleaded not guilty, while the rest has reached deals with prosecutor. Pretrial, the Fulton County Superior Court has expressed concerns about too many defendants all at once, but the district attorney believes this case has been simplified enough for a single trial. So I guess I just read that headline wrong. That's not mine, but go ahead and click on this one. But here's the other one, which is for sure real news. Sorry for the clickbait title. Not changing the title, by the way. Judge puts on hold on Trump's federal election interference case while appeals process plays out. The federal judge has halted the case against Donald Trump related to the overturning of the 2020 election results that he appealed for immunity. The U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan has temporarily paused the proceedings granting Trump's request while he pursues his appeal. The appeals challenge the judge is ruling that Trump is not immune from prosecution for his action as president. But we're going to go back to this one. Let's see here. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis sat down with the Associated Press for an interview this week about the case against Trump. Atlanta District Attorney prosecuting Donald Trump over the efforts to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia says that she has a duty to file charges against anyone who violates the law. And it's a silly notion that the former president case should be paused because he is running for office. I mean, some see this as election interference on the district attorney. She had almost 4 years, or actually 3 years, to bring this case against him. And she didn't. Now I get that some cases are overwhelming and they do take time to process. In an interview this week, Associated Press, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis declined to say whether she or her team has been in touch with the U.S. Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith, which is another issue that's being raised, who has filed federal charges in an election interference case against Trump in Washington. She also raised the possibility that more of Trump's 18 co-defendants in the Georgia case could take plea deals, furthering paring down the number who could go to trial with him. Now, a lot of those people are taking plea deals because they don't have the stamina or the time or patience to drag this on. They just want to get it over with. So they're just pleading to the lesser charge just so they can move on with their life, which is a terrible thing that our legal system does. Willis is seeking an August trial date for Trump and his co-defendant, a time frame that would put the current frontrunner of the Republican presidential nominee in court, defending himself in months, weeks, and even days leading up to the November general election. You cannot tell me that this was planned. Regardless if you think he's guilty or not, this is staged to take him off of the campaign trail. That's why they're pushing so hard for this. Trump's lawyer said that Trump is the nominee and it would be that the most effective election interference in history of the United States. Really, Willis brushed off the idea, pointing out that prosecutors all over the countries are always investigating people for various crimes, and they do not stop to do so because someone runs for office. I mean, you gotta cite your sources there. If a prosecutor finds that they violated the law, they actually have an ethical duty to bring forth the charges. And so it's a silly notion to me because one runs from office that your criminal case would stop. They're not asking to stop, we're just doing a pause on the court case. I mean, I could point to Hillary Clinton, where I think Kumi, whatever his name was, says that he found that she violated the law, but no reasonable district attorney would press charges against Hillary Clinton. That was his assessment, and that's where it ended. Willis has alleged that Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, former White House chief of staff Mark Meadows, and others participated in a wide-range scheme to overturn the elections in 2020, elections after voters elected Democrat Joe Biden as president. 4 of the 19 people charged have pleaded guilty after reaching plea deals with the prosecutor. Trump, Giuliani, Meadows, and others remaining have pled not guilty because they're willing to take this all the way to the Supreme Court. Willis and her team have said that they want to have a single trial for the rest of the defendants. Fulton County Superior Court asked Judge Scott McAfee, who presided over the case, has expressed skepticism about the idea of having too many people at once. He said earlier this month that even 12 people at once could be a stretch. I mean, it looks like the judge is on Trump's side. Willis disagrees with the judge on that. My answer would be to whittle down to a narrow size that we can try, but I don't know if all 15 will be at the table at once. They'll get through the process, she said. Prosecutors and defense attorneys have been exchanging evidence. Pretrial motions for the defendants are due early next month. Now, keep in mind, I mean, I understand where she's coming from. Just because you're running for election doesn't mean that you're immune to these charges or the investigation can't stop. But I am questioning the timing that she's pushing for. It is why I find suspect as well. She asked whether she expects Trump will spend time behind bars in Georgia once the case runs the course. Willis declined to speak about any particular defendant, but she also noted the indictment includes serious charges, including alleged violations of state anti-racketeering law that carry significant prison time. And she's going to have to prove that case, to be honest. You can look at the statutes that we charge, very serious case. She says, and there are consequences of violating serious laws unless you're part of the establishment and you get a slap on the wrist. And see, I would go on, but this is a rather long one. We'll go to this one. Sure, we'll go with this one. See here, Donald Trump's election interference case in Washington will be put on hold while the former president further pursues his claim that he is immune from prosecution, a judge ruled Wednesday. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan, who is covering the case, agreed that the 3-page order to pause any further proceeding would move in this case forward or towards a trial or impose additional burdens of litigation on the defendant as the appeal court is considering Trump's immunity arguments. But she left open the possibility of keeping the current trial date of March 4th. So they pretty much want him in court all next year. March 4th, 2020 or 2024. If the case returns to her court, saying that the date and other deadlines are being put on pause rather than canceled, she also said in her order had no bearing on the enforcement of the gag order, placed restrictions on Trump's speech outside of the court. Special counsel Jack Smith and his team this week is asked the Supreme Court to take up the rule quickly on whether Trump can be prosecuted on charges accusing him of illegally scheming to overturn his election loss, kind of like how Hillary Clinton and the Steele dossier did, to get him impeached over a fake dossier where she just got fined for. Later Monday, the justice indicated that it would decide quickly whether to hear the case, ordering Trump's lawyer to respond by December 20th. This is right around the corner. The court's brief order did not signal what ultimately would do. Trump's appeal to the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit after can turn aside his argument and that he is shielded from prosecution for actions he took while fulfilling his duty as president. In her order, Kuchin, also appointed by President Barack Obama, wrote that the office of the president does not confer a lifelong get out of jail free card, which I agree. Smith is attempting to bypass the appeal courts, usually the next step in the process, and have the Supreme Court take up the matter directly in hopes of keeping the March 4th trial date in place. Smith team had told Cochran to not pause the case, saying that the judge continued to resolve issues unrelated to the appeal while the immunity claim is pending. Appeals court prosecutors said that they would continue to meet every pretrial deadline the court has set so that the case could swiftly move to trial if the higher court rejects Trump's immunity argument. The Supreme Court case usually lasts several months from the time the justices agree to hear it until the final decision. Smith is asking the courts to move with unusual but not unprecedented speed. Nearly 50 years ago, the justice acted within 2 months of being asked to force President Richard Nixon to turn over the Oval Office recording in the Watergate scandal. These tapes were then used later in 1974 in the corruption prosecution of Nixon's former aides. It took the High Court just a few days to effectively decide the 2000 presidential election for Republican George Bush over Democrat Al Gore. The judges declined to step in. At this point, Trump's appeal will continue in the U.S. Court of Appeal for the D.C. Circuit. Smith has said a rapid appellate decision might not get to the Supreme Court in time for review for the final word before the court's trademark summer break or traditional summer break. Trump faces 4 prosecutions in 4 different cities. He is charged in Florida with illegal retaining classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. He faces state prosecution in Georgia that accuses him of trying to subvert the state's 2020 presidential election, and the New York case accusing him of falsifying business records in connection with hush money payments to a porn actress. But here's the thing is, Joe Biden had government documents when he was a senator and vice president. They're not really going after him, but I could get why they're not going after him because he's currently the president. So if this case goes through, does that mean that we could charge Joe Biden when he steps down? I'm just asking. That being said, that is my video for today. I'm not going to change the title. I should change the title for the actual YouTube and Rumble, but I honestly thought the other one was just postponing because she was running for re-election. I misread that, so I don't know what to do here, but I'm going to post this video regardless. That being said, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.